Yami was the undisputed king of the school. Every girl wanted him and every guy wanted to be him. But amidst the sea of girls chasing after him, his attention was fixed on only one. And it wasn't the popular cheerleader or the pretty queen bee. It was Mayo, the invisible girl nobody ever talked to, a shy introvert who moved through the halls like a ghost. At home, life was quiet, just her and her mom since her dad passed away. Her only real friend is her cat that made up her entire social circle. School offered no escape as other girls would openly point and laugh at her, leaving her trapped in a life with no friends, no love, and only pain. On the other side of the social spectrum was the school's heartthrob Yami. He strolled down the hallway with his friend Kenji, who was complaining about his abysmal luck with girls. Kenji lamented that every time he tried to flirt, the girl would inevitably ditch him to chase after Yami. Suddenly, a girl named Sami came rushing towards them. Kenji's hopes soared for a moment, but she treated him like he was invisible and threw herself into Yami's arms, asking to hang out. Kenji's jealousy flared, angrily telling Yami to back off, but Yami coolly retorted that it wasn't like she was looking at Kenji anyway. Their heated argument was cut short when Kenji clumsily bumped into Mayo, knocking her to the ground. Mayo shot a look so intense it could kill before simply walking away, leaving both Kenji and Yami unnerved by her stare. Yami had no idea who she was, but Kenji explained that she was a girl from his class who was so silent, nobody was even sure what her voice sounded like. In that moment, Yami whispered to himself that he had just found the girl of his dreams. After the morning assembly, as they headed to class, Yami was once again mobbed by adoring girls, leaving Kenji in the dust. Spotting a girl on the stairs, Kenji decided to try his luck, only to realize it was Mayo. Yami immediately scolded Kenji for his poor manners, but Mayo didn't hesitate, aiming a swift kick at Kenji that accidentally landed on Yami instead. Without a word of apology, she chewed them both out and stormed off. But Yami was completely mesmerized. He was thrilled because he had finally heard her voice, and it was clear he was utterly smitten. At the end of the day, Mayo walked out of school, enduring the hateful glares from girls furious that she had hit their precious Yami. When she opened her locker, it was stuffed with hate mail. Just then, Yami appeared. He greeted her and apologized for Kenji's behavior, dismissing him as a harmless idiot. Flustered, Mayo apologized for kicking him by mistake. Yami then cut straight to the chase, confessing that he was into her and that she was the perfect girl he had always imagined. Thinking he was making fun of her, Mayo rushed off, unable to believe anyone could be interested in her. As she was walking home, Yami suddenly appeared again, pleading for her number and a chance to be friends. She flatly refused his offer. Undeterred, Yami scribbled his number on a piece of paper, telling her to call whenever she felt like it. She took the paper and, in a small gesture, handed him a band-aid for the spot she had kicked. Walking home, Mayo was in a state of shock. For the first time in her life, someone had actually smiled at her. After her part-time job at a small pastry shop, she returned home so flustered she forgot to even greet her mom, spending the entire night thinking about Yami. The next day at school, he tried every trick in the book to talk to her, but she pretended he didn't exist. He finally cornered her, asking why she hadn't called them. Mayo showed him her nearly empty phone, explaining that she doesn't trust anyone because people are selfish, and she was perfectly happy being alone. That night, after her shift, Mayo noticed a strange man following her. Terrified, she ducked into a random store, but the man just waited outside. She tried calling her mom with no answer, leaving her with only one option: to call Yami and hope he would come. The moment Yami got the call, he sprinted to her location. He walked into the store, casually bought an ice cream, took Mayo by the hand, and walked out. He stood directly in front of the creepy man and planted a kiss on Mayo to scare him off, a tactic that worked perfectly, as the shocked man simply left. Yami then took her to a restaurant where he had been with his friends. Sami tried to make small talk, but Mayo's mind was a million miles away, completely fixated on the surprise kiss. When Yami suggested they all go sing karaoke, a startled Mayo blurted out a no without thinking, accidentally knocking the microphone from his hand. The entire restaurant stared at her with contempt. Mortified, Mayo bolted from the restaurant, the kiss still replaying in her mind. She couldn't believe Yami had actually come to save her, given her deep-seated distrust of everyone. Yami chased after her. Mayo suddenly remembered she hadn't paid for the ice cream and pulled out her wallet, but Yami stopped her with a smirk, telling her not to worry because he already got what he wanted. Her face turned beet red and she ran off, but like a true gentleman, Yami walked her all the way home. The next day, she spent the entire day daydreaming about them as a couple, only to snap out of it, convinced it was a nightmare. She felt like a nobody next to the most popular guy in school and was terrified of what people would say. Later, Sami approached Mio and said good morning, a simple act of kindness that was a first for Mio. Sami started chatting with her, all while jealous girls shot daggers at them with their eyes. Things were only intensified by Yami starting to greet her every day and Sami bringing her small friendship gifts. In the girls' bathroom, Sami asked Miyu if Yami had ever kissed her. When Miyu admitted he had, Sami claimed she wasn't surprised, saying he had kissed her too. Suddenly, two girls appeared and started insulting them both. Miyu commented on Sami's strength for not crying, and Sami explained that words don't matter when you have friends who support you. She revealed that in middle school, she was bullied so relentlessly that she hated school until Yami protected her. She had been in love with him ever since, but he didn't feel the same way, apparently having a crush on a girl from another class named Arai. When Miyu got home, she couldn't stop thinking about this Arai girl, and grew curious about what she looked like. Out of the blue, Yami called, inviting her to hang out with them after school and confirming Arai would be there. Miyu confronted him, asking if he was just playing with everyone's feelings, since Arai was his first love. Yami just laughed, explaining that he was minding his own business while girls threw themselves at him. Unconvinced, Miyu declared she wasn't coming and hung up. At school, she finally saw Arai, and was stunned by her doll-like beauty, feeling like a troll in comparison. She spent the rest of the day spying on them, which only earned her ridicule from other students. Miyu ran away to be alone, but the school bullies found her and started bad-mouthing Sami. When Miyu stood up for her, they beat her up. When Yami saw her bruised face, Miyu lied, saying she just fell, but he didn't buy it for a second. He knew someone had hurt her, and told Sami to take her to the school nurse. There they ran into the bullies again, whose taunts continued until Sami ran away crying. At the end of the day, Yami couldn't find his friends to hang out. Whenever he asked about Miyu, he was met with a strange silence. He ended up going out with other friends and Arai, but felt like something was missing. Even Arai, his supposed crush, was getting on his nerves with her clinginess. Leaving the restaurant in a foul mood, he spotted Miyu trying to spy on him. He caught her and she yelled at him to stop playing with girls' hearts. But then Yami blurted out that he loved her, leaving Miyu completely thunderstruck. The next day, Yami sat beside her in class, trying to make conversation about her hair. She explained it was messy from the rain and that she needed a haircut. To her surprise, when he offered to go with her, she agreed. After school, they met up for what Yami considered their first official date, though Miyu, who was late, just laughed at the idea. Before leaving home, she had been tempted to wear a nice dress, but her mom's teasing about a date had embarrassed her so much that she put on the ugliest outfit she owned to prove her wrong. Feeling awkward, he suggested they do something fun first. As they walked, every girl on the street stared at Yami. Miyu grew annoyed, asking if this happened all the time. Yami's claim that it was the first only made her feel worse, thinking his good looks were being highlighted by her own plainness. But he sweetly reassured her, trying to cheer her up. Their walk was interrupted by one of Yami's friends, Ko, and his girlfriend Iko, who happened to be one of Miyu's bullies. Upon hearing they were on a date, Iko gave Miyu a look of pure disgust and insisted they all go bowling together. At the alley, Iko couldn't hide her contempt, muttering about how a guy like Yami could be interested in a girl like Miyu. Her annoyance grew when Miyu beat her at bowling, stealing the attention. Later, Iko confronted Miyu, asking if they were really on a date. Miyu scoffed at the idea, claiming Yami had begged to come along with her to the hairdresser.
Shocked, Iko threatened Miyu, telling her to stay away from Yami if she didn't actually love him, reminding her how many girls would kill for his attention. Miyu abruptly told Yami she was going home and walked out. When he tried to stop her, Iko clung to him, but he ignored her and ran after Miyu. Iko was left dejected, her obsession with Yami stemming from a time when he helped her overcome deep insecurity. He had convinced her she was beautiful without the expensive makeup and dieting she used to impress an ex-boyfriend who ended up cheating on her. Yami was the only one who helped her through the heartbreak, and she fell for him, even losing 19 kilos in 2 months, swearing no one would ever take him from her. Meanwhile, Yami found Miyu and asked if Iko had upset her. Miyu turned the question on him, asking why he chose her out of all the pretty girls. Instead of answering, he took her to his old middle school and told her his story. He confessed that he used to be a coward who would look the other way when other kids were bullied. He had felt worthless ever since the day when his best friend was brutally beaten, and he did nothing to help. Miyu comforted him, telling him how wonderful he truly was. As they continued their walk, Yami mentioned he preferred long hair, and Miyu took his words to heart, deciding not to cut her hair after all. The next day, Yami gave Miyu a bracelet as a symbol of their love. She was so stunned. It was the first time she had ever loved and been loved back that she didn't know what to say. Elsewhere, Iko listened as the whole school gossiped about Miyu's positive transformation, noticing the new bracelet on her wrist. A guy named Hayato approached Yami, expressing his surprise that he was dating Miyu and suggesting they all hang out so he could get to know her. Yami found the request odd but agreed to ask Miyu. He found her nervously holding a map, and he explained that everyone had been staring at her bracelet, which was against the dress code. In that moment, Yami took her hand and kissed it. Just as she was about to slap him, he stopped her and told her about his friend's invitation, suggesting it was a good chance for her to make more friends. It turned out the sneaky Iko had put Hayato up to this as part of an evil plan. Hayato, jealous of Yami's popularity, was going along with it. The next day, Yami agreed to meet Hayato on Saturday. As Hayato made a note on his phone, Yami noticed him deleting a previous plan for that day and decided to be cautious. On Saturday, Hayato took them to a restaurant where he bombarded Mio with questions. She ignored him, focusing on her food. Hayato then complained to Yami that he'd been neglecting his friends for Mio and offered to introduce her to more people, asking for her number. Mio remained silent. When Yami stepped away for a phone call, Hayato started trying to get into Mio's head, suggesting Yami was talking to another girl. He complimented her recent change in appearance and pushed for them to hang out more, claiming it would make Yami happy. But Mio saw right through his manipulative act. She told him she would never want to be friends with someone like him, put money for her meal on the table, and left. When Yami returned, he found Mio gone. Hayato dismissed her as boring and insulted her, telling Yami he deserved better. Hearing this, Yami punched Hayato square in the face, warning him never to speak her name again. Aiko, who was with Hayato, left in a huff. A bitter Hayato yelled after her, questioning what she saw in Yami, but Aiko retorted that at least Yami didn't use people. Hayato then made cruel comments about her body and feelings. Mio, who had been hiding nearby, emerged and defended Aiko, calling Hayato a pathetic slob. The classless jerk shoved Mio to the ground and walked away. Aiko asked Mio why she stood up for her. Mio explained that she understood what Aiko had been through and admired her courage, admitting that she herself had never tried to make friends until Yami showed her a brighter side of life. Instead of thanking her, Aiko simply told her that she and Yami could have each other. Later, Mio was outside the school when she found a small abandoned kitten and began to cry over it. Yami tried to reassure her that someone would take it home, but Mio yelled at him for having no soul. So, ever the simp, Yami decided to adopt the kitten just for her. That night, Mio got a frantic call from Yami screaming for help. After she panicked, he revealed the emergency. The kitten wasn't eating. At her wit's end, Mio hung up on him. Yami became obsessed with the kitten, which he named Karu, showing its picture to everyone. At the end of the day, Mio thanked him for taking care of it, and he suggested she bring her own cat over for a play date. When Mio arrived at Yami's house, she was greeted by his little sister yelling at him for not feeding the cat. The sister then looked at Mio, expressed her deep disappointment in Yami's choice, and slammed the door in her face. Yami apologized and let her in, but his sister was determined to make Mio's life miserable, calling her an ugly witch. Yami scolded his sister, Nagi, but she refused to apologize. He tried to explain that while she seemed aggressive, she was actually sweet but had stopped going to school for the past 6 months. Nagi used to have friends over, but they were just using her for free food and games. After overhearing them call her boring and annoying, she refused to go to school or talk to friends. Yami became her everything, and she didn't want any girl stealing him away. Mio began to understand and felt sorry for the little girl. Yami dashed out for 5 minutes to meet Kenji, leaving Mio alone. She noticed Nagi's teddy bear on the floor and decided to return it to her room, hoping to make peace. When Nagi saw Mio with her bear and heard her thanks for the hospitality, she took Mio's hand and led her into a room filled with an unbelievable number of teddy bears she had made herself. Mio was amazed by Nagi's talent. She shared a story about how she once made cookies so hard they broke her dad's teeth, which made Nagi laugh. Mio told Nagi how she used to hate everyone just like her, but that her brother had changed her perspective and encouraged her to give good people a chance. She advised Nagi not to stay depressed and to find friends who truly deserved her. As they talked, Nagi gave Mio one of her teddy bears as a token of their new friendship. When Yami returned with a cake, he was shocked to find that the two, who couldn't stand each other hours ago, were now best friends. The next day, Mio got a text from Nagi. When Yami asked who she was texting, she lied and said it was her mom. She then turned down his invitations to hang out, claiming she was busy for the next few days, which made him think she was avoiding him. In reality, Nagi had sent her the recipe for the cake she'd had at their house. Mio was determined to bake it for Yami and needed time to practice. She spent all night trying to bake, but she was a complete disaster. When her mom got home, she immediately figured out she was baking for her boyfriend, which Mio furiously denied. At school, Kenji ran up to Yami, yelling that a disaster had struck. Megu, the most famous fashion model in Japan, had just transferred to their school. The moment Megu saw Yami, she recognized him, but before she could say much, the entire school swarmed her for pictures. Mio saw the crowd but ignored it. At the end of the day, Megu found Yami at the school gate. She asked if he had a girlfriend, and when he said yes, she declared she was jealous and wanted to be his girlfriend too. She claimed it was love at first sight, and didn't care that he was taken, arguing that as world-class models, they should be together. Yami took a deep breath, called it the stupidest thing he'd ever heard, and walked away to meet Mio. The next day, Megu put on a sweet act, apologizing to Yami in front of Mio for asking him out. She then asked if she could be friends with both of them, and a too nice Mio agreed. Megu quickly inserted herself into their group.
In a moment of mischief, Sami told Yami to show Megu to her classes. Mio became incredibly jealous, especially after hearing other students say how good Yami and Megu looked together. As they walked, Megu told Yami her agent was looking for a male model, and that he could become super famous if he worked with her. Yami, who disliked the media attention, initially refused, but said he'd think about it. Mio went home and continued her disastrous attempts at baking cookies, which were so rock hard even her cat ran away from them. At school, Yami told his friends he was considering the modeling offer. Mio was not happy, feeling jealous that other girls would be fawning over him. Megu informed him of an important meeting with her agent after school to sign the contract. Yami was hesitant since he usually walked Mio home, but she told him it was fine, not wanting to stand in the way of his future. As she walked home alone, she felt a sense of unease, a little voice whispering that Megu was going to steal Yami from her. The day of Yami's first photo shoot with Megu arrived, and Mio, Kenji, and Sami were there for support. Mio was shocked to learn the theme was lovers. She stood there like a deer in headlights, watching her boyfriend pretend to be in love with someone else, feeling incredibly small and unworthy. She began to feel that Yami was drifting away from her. A few days later, the school was buzzing, everyone reading the magazine featuring Yami and Megu, gushing about them like a real married couple. Even Sami and Kenji unintentionally said things that hurt Mio's feelings. Yami asked Mio to walk home together after school, and she agreed. But then Megu showed up, telling Yami her agent wanted him to continue working with them because a magazine had sold out, offering him a huge sum of money. Yami looked to Mio for her opinion. Through gritted teeth, Mio told him it was a great opportunity and that he should take it. Yami could tell she wasn't happy, but he agreed anyway. At the end of the day, as they were all walking home, Megu suggested they go out to eat. Sami mentioned Mio was not a fan of going out, so Mio told him to go without her. The next day, as Sami recounted what happened at the restaurant, Mio looked out the window and saw Megu and Yami sitting together, chatting away happily, leaving her to wonder if Yami would stay with her or if he would ultimately fall for Megu.